Hello and welcome everybody to the very first Talking Nerdy podcast. We are the Nerd Herders here. You are joined today by Travis and...
Sorry, I was swallowing.
Who's that?
Swallowing my
mysterious
coffee.
voice?
Do you not know your name?
No, sorry, I'm like,
Boy.
Boy.
I'm choking.
All right, while he's joking, I'm Sav.
I'm Aaron.
Aaron's dying a little bit for this podcast.
The bagel was a mistake. You guys were right.
Dude, I told you. All right, so we went and got breakfast this morning at Dunkin' Donuts, and this clown orders a bagel.
We had donuts yesterday.
You think I care when the last time you had donuts is? As I said in the shop in front of the barista, it's Dunkin' Donuts, not Dunkin' Bagels.
Okay, well, I've paid for my sins, so we can move on now.
Yeah.
Now they can listen to the dulcet sounds of us sipping our coffee.
And
Yes.
choking on the
And
bagel.
choking on your bagel.
So getting
Anyways,
back-
That's not the topic of this podcast.
We've got Aaron, Sav, and Travis with the first episode of our new podcast. Basically, we're taking what was the Talking Nerdy channel and just turning it into a talking podcast on the Nerd Herders channel.
So whenever we feel like talking nerdy with y'all, this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna talk.
Yeah. So for our first episode, we're going to be talking about E3 2018 that just wrapped up.
Yes.
Lots of really good stuff. A lot of really cool games were announced. We got more information on games that we are already excited for. So, where do we want to start?
Well, let's start with what did you guys actually watch? Because I know we read a lot of things like in hindsight, but did you watch anything live?
Bethesda.
Same. I watched the Bethesda conference live.
I did not watch any of the conferences, to be totally honest with you. What I did is that every night after the conferences aired, I would watch the game trailers
Okay.
for games that I'm
That's fair.
particularly interested in. And a lot of times, like, I follow IGN on Twitter and whatnot, so they would post articles, and if I saw an article about one of those games, I was like, click it, let's see what's up.
That's the same I did for all the other conferences, really, is like...
I read the
Real
IGN
time, I would
articles.
like check Twitter as things were going on and
Yeah.
like see everyone's commentary, be like, "Oh, that trailer," and then I'd go and watch that later.
I was
But
camping-
that's just the only one that I cared about.
I was camping for most of E3, so I didn't get to see anything other than Bethesda live. But like immediately upon return, I'm like, what did I miss?
Okay, so let's start with Bethesda then.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
It was a good conference.
it was.
It wasn't. I mean, it was very lackluster up until the end, honestly. But I thought, compared to
I thought
past
it was really,
conferences,
yeah. I'm like, I thought it was like really cheeky
Yeah.
throughout, honestly.
but when Todd
then
Howard came out,
Todd Howard.
that was the best part for sure. And I mean, that was when you got all the big announcements that you were looking for anyway. But
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, That's what-
Fallout 76.
Fallout
yeah,
76.
yes.
What
I
are
am
your guys'
personally very
feelings?
excited.
I was gonna say, you guys played
So-
Fallout much more than I did.
Yes.
Yeah, Fallout Shelter.
Free on
No,
PS4
you can have it
now.
on your-
Yes!
I was
And like the
cracking
most
up.
downloaded
Yes,
game.
Fallout Shelter has downloaded more copies than any other Bethesda game ever combined. All of their games combined.
That's because it's free.
Yeah.
And it's
Fair.
goofy.
But
and
not
now
like
it's on
60.
PlayStation
I will
4.
say, as far as like a mobile game goes, it
pretty
was
fun.
pretty fun. It was
What
a
has
little
quests
more.
now and stuff? It's pretty substantial.
I mean, I'm not sure what the quests are going to be like on console, just because I didn't watch that particular video. But
Yeah.
like, even sending your guys out on quests before was pretty interactive.
It was.
You know, you could choose to follow them and like interact with them on a more personal level, or just let them do their things and come back with the loot.
Yeah.
But that was a really fun game. I remember when they first announced that. That was actually
During the Bethesda conference.
well back. Yeah,
Yeah,
back,
we
back
downloaded it
2014.
Yeah, he's like,
during
it's
the
available
conference.
now.
Yeah,
And
we were
everyone's
watching.
like,
we were
"Todd
watching
Howard,
it with
you're a
Mark,
god."
and we downloaded it right there
That
and
was
then.
kind of a special moment for
That
me because that
was.
was the first time that I'd ever watched E3 with other people.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
same.
And this is like,
Other people, yeah.
it was the first time I'd actually paid attention to the conference. I wasn't just there for like specific games that I liked.
Right.
You know, I was just kind of watching the entire thing as it was.
It's a cool
So
experience.
kind of that was years ago, and now seeing where we are with it coming to console now is kind of cool. Fallout 76.
Yeah,
So I will say
Multiplayer
I'm
Fallout.
stoked. Online multiplayer.
we
But not
talked
too
about
many
this
players.
briefly last night,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
especially keeping in mind the whole like not too many players thing. I'm
Yeah.
hesitant.
Uh,
Like you don't really play any console, Sav, so
fair enough. Fair enough.
but
What-
you live with this guy, so you're gonna be.
I know,
watching
I'm
him
like,
You're going to be
I-
exposed to a lot.
I get excited for games nonetheless because I have friends that have
Aaron's
consoles,
going
and then
to
I get to
expose
play
you.
tidbits.
So what's got you hesitant? What specifically about the online?
So
I don't like multiplayer games anyway.
the idea of a game like Fallout, which is notorious for players developing the attitude of I want what you got, so I'm gonna kill you. I feel like that could cause some major conflict. I'm not sure what they're gonna do as far as like player versus player interactions like that. Because if you're someone, especially if they have microtransactions, which let's face it, it's an online game, it's going to happen.
Pardon the train.
Oh God, yeah.
Beautiful.
We're recording outside because we like nature,
and it's a nice
actually
day.
A nice day, yeah. It was like 100 degrees yesterday. Today it's a balmy 85
with a breeze.
Yeah,
pollen-riddled breeze.
Oh, God,
Oh God.
the spores, Ellie.
So what I like about Fallout 76, from what they were saying, is that you can play offline.
Yeah.
You can play your game the way that you've played every other Fallout game.
Yeah.
And then when you go onto a server with your friends or with strangers, everything comes with you.
Mm-hmm.
Your items, your level progression, if they have a perk system, you're going to have all that stuff. And then the servers are going to be dozens of players, not hundreds of players.
Mm-hmm.
And they said the game is, what'd they say, 4 times larger than Fallout 4?
Yeah. Yeah, that's huge.
It's huge. So you're not going to be... It's kind of like what... No Man's Sky was supposed to be.
Oh, God.
But that was an extreme example and a total failure. But it's
not
it's
hyping it up for
multiplayer, but
years
you're never gonna run into anybody because it's so big. It's
Yeah.
that to a lesser degree.
Well, yeah, because we're not going on an intergalactic scale here.
Right.
This is
right.
the wasteland.
But there's not going to be a ton of people, and then
Which makes sense for a wasteland. I
right,
think
which
that's
makes sense. It's the
interesting.
apocalypse,
Yeah.
and then it's going to add an element of being able to work as a team because the construction, the settlement builder is back.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
can build anywhere, not just in a defined area.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which means if you're with your friends, you guys can be working together
Fortnite.
to build bigger
I was
construction.
like Minecraft.
Right?
So it's just
Yeah.
how.
But then the other thing was there's going to be unlaunched nukes in the
Oh
game
my
because this is a
gosh.
prequel. This is
Yeah,
only
it's way before.
Oh, that's
it's
true.
only
Yeah,
20
yeah.
after
it
everyone went down.
25 years or something after the nukes dropped. Like it's very quick.
Yeah.
So technically, you could think like
Undetonated
the
nukes.
war is still parts of the war are still going to be going on. There's still going to be holdouts. There's still going to be unlaunched nukes
Yeah.
because everything else that we've experienced is hundreds of years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So in the game, you can find bits and pieces of launch codes.
Yeah.
And when you find a full launch code, you and your friends can select a target. So you could work on building this whole settlement and then have some random guy nuke it. I know that's really annoying, but I think
would
it's
be
cool.
so frustrated.
I'd be
and
so
I would
frustrated
quit.
too, but
Well, see,
I think
with
it's-
Sav
Someone
on
nuke all
this.
my projects.
See,
I worked
if you
so
spent
hard.
all this
I
time
spent
with your group-
hours.
gathering these resources.
yeah, but then you go
crafting
kill
weapons,
them all.
building
It's the
this.
wasteland.
You can find them.
Why not?
If the world is so big that you can barely run into people,
Well,
but
and
then
this goes-
someone nukes
this
you
goes
anyway.
back
You don't have a
to-
home anymore. Go hunt them down.
This goes back to the whole
It
issue,
becomes
though,
like
of
Mad
like,
Max Vengeance Quest.
Right.
what happens once you die? You said that like it brings everything from your personal game online, but like when you go back to the personal game, do you still have those items? Can you respawn with those original items, or like what happens?
Yeah, that's
True,
a
what
good
do you
point.
get to keep?
I don't know how respawning is going to work, and I don't know if there's going to be a difference in respawning between offline and online.
Yeah.
I'm sure offline it'll be like every other Bethesda game. Make sure you hit save or quick save
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
You'll go
Yeah.
back to like the last load,
Mm-hmm.
But
And so that's where my hesitance comes in.
yeah.
So it's like it's a cool concept, but it's one of those things where I'm not gonna jump on that pre-order. I'm probably gonna wait a few weeks at least. Just kind of let the dust settle, let the people who are super pumped for it, like you, get it, experience
See.
it, and then hear what they
Report
have to
back.
say about it.
I
Yeah.
am going to pre-order it because pre-ordering gets you access to the beta.
Okay.
They're going to have an online beta, and I
Yeah.
want to test it out. So I am going to pre-order it
Mm-hmm.
because I do want to participate in the beta to
Yeah.
get a better idea. And we'll do a podcast episode
Mm-hmm.
once the beta's out and we've experienced it, with some feedback on that specifically. But
yeah.
I look forward to it from that point of view. Also, new setting, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Looks beautiful. Some
You're saying
cool.
You can go to like DC or something.
Right, so there's a little bit of overlap with the Fallout 3 map.
Yes.
So you're still in the outer edges of the Capital Wasteland. So, I think it shows the
This
Capitol
had like
building.
a weird caterpillar drop onto my hand. It had like a needle face. That was eerie.
That's funny.
Anyways,
And then they're going to come out with DLC.
of
and
course.
I'm sure some of the DLC will revolve around, DC locations that are familiar. But
Yeah.
this is going to be the capital only 25 years after the war, not
Yeah.
200 years after the war.
Less wrecked.
Right. Yeah.
Still a little wrecked.
Still a little
Just
wrecked.
Less wrecked. Like
So
me
what is
in
it?
my
The
daily life.
Enclave? Maybe it'll be the early days of the Enclave.
Actually,
know.
you know what? That would be interesting.
That would
We've
be a
had so
cool-
much exposure to Brotherhood of Steel at this point. It
Right.
would be kind of cool to explore the Enclave side of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you play through Fallout 3? I don't remember if you did or not.
I played a bit, and then I watched you replay it.
Okay.
When just on your side of the living
So-
room when you were doing your thing, I watched a lot of it.
So you remember how like the Enclave is basically
Yes.
led by a computer.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see if like we get to watch that programming
Mm-hmm.
occur.
It's similar programming to like Mr. House in New Vegas.
Actually, yeah, it's a very, very similar
Yeah.
concept.
And then new monsters. There's like giant sloths and stuff, which
You
is
told me
weird.
about that. I wanted.
Sloths are native to South America, so that kind of confuses me.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
if
know.
they're giant, they made their way over.
But they're so slow!
It's
It
not,
took
not in the
time.
video.
I'm not saying it was instant.
They said that they used a lot of the local West Virginia superstition creatures in the development.
Yeah.
So there's
Oh my gosh,
there-
so it's like
there's going to be a lot of
the lore
folklore.
of cryptids of
Yeah.
West Virginia.
There's gonna be
now
a-
I want to play it
so,
really badly.
Appalachia,
Yeah.
a lot of
Appalachia has all
weird,
kinds of weird, like,
creature
stuff.
lore and stuff is going to play a role into the mutant, the mutated animals that you have to face.
I
Yeah.
want to play it.
Get
So-
your swatter!
So I bet that'll play into a lot of the readable material too on
Yeah.
the computers and the papers you find, So
So
I
I
like
will
that.
say that's something I haven't taken part of too much in the Fallout series is reading those
oh
materials.
man, I
But
love
think,
just reading through the computers.
I think this
love
particular
lore in
game
any
is going to
game.
have some really fascinating lore, being that it's so far ahead of everything else that we've played to this point.
yeah. I found
big
I found a
city
reference to
beginnings.
Monterey in Fallout 4.
Are
I
you
remember
serious?
that I was there.
Yeah, you were watching me play. You go to the Oceanic Institution
Yeah.
in Boston,
Boston.
and you're on the log, and it was like all the stuff in October, a couple days before the nukes dropped, and they were talking about how they were flying out to Monterey to work at the research center out there, which would be the Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
log
But-
had a child.
Yeah, I was like, oh look, So
I
there's
know
just
that.
you can find some
I
cool
see.
stuff.
I know there. I know there.
I
Yeah.
lived there. Yeah. So there's a lot of fun stuff that you can find just
Yeah.
by digging around, literally digging around.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
my favorite thing about the big like open world kind of games though, and that's why I specifically like Bethesda. Even though I don't have a console and don't play a lot of the newer games, I loved Oblivion with all of my heart.
That game.
And I would read
Oh.
every single book. I would read every line of every text. I would talk to everybody multiple times.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love lore. That's what I'm here for, and that's what Bethesda I think provides in a lot of their games. And
When
to
I-
see like the beginnings of lore from these games that are already really popular, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
when I first started playing Skyrim, and when you initially break into people's houses, when I see all these books, it's like, oh, these are so cool, let's read them. And then you keep finding new books and new books and new books, and I
There's
just
so
was like, I
many.
can't do it. I give up.
I
I'm
read 'em
done. There's
all.
too much. You worked too hard.
But the dumb thing is, I carry them anyway because I'm like, I might read them.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like downloading games on Steam. Like, oh, I might like to play this at some point. 10 years later, when did I buy this?
But they all weigh like a pound, and then you have like 200 pounds of books, and then you have
Yeah,
to drop
yeah.
something, and you're like, oh god. Like you look for the duplicate copies, but then when you're like, which one do I drop?
You
Like,
should just make a character called the Librarian, and the whole thing is you just collect
Only
books.
the books.
oh man, I wonder if you could find out how many individual books are in the game, and then try to collect
I'm
them
sure
all.
there's a wiki that tells you.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's
people have done
definitely people that have collected all
But
the books.
So-
That's just
segueing from
me, like,
Oblivion,
that. Exactly, yeah.
segues into Elder Scrolls 6
Yes,
was
it
teased
is
right at
about
the end
damn
there.
time.
No information, no subtitle, obviously still in development,
Yeah.
but like where do you think they're going to go? Where do you see this in the timeline, I guess, and in the location? Where in Tamriel? We going to go back to the capital, or is it going to be, it's obviously going to be a location that has been visited in the earlier games.
Yeah,
with a new, a current gen
system.
But where do you think they're going to go?
I'm gonna be honest with
haven't a
you.
clue.
I'm not super familiar with like the land, so I don't know for sure.
Oh, there's people taking pictures.
Lovely.
But I don't know. I don't know enough about the lore of the different locales where it might be, but I think it would be really cool if kind of how they're tying in like the main storyline of Fallout 76, you can kind of carry that stuff over to online.
Right.
If there was a way to link up Elder Scrolls 6 with Elder Scrolls Online, I think that might be an interesting thing to look into.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love the Elder Scrolls, but I've not done anything with Elder Scrolls Online. I chose to just kind of opt out of that one.
I haven't either, but they're constantly making new expansions.
came
the
out with
game is still
Morrowind.
going strong. So
Yeah, it is.
I
Might be worth visiting.
I think the
revisiting.
longevity of the online game is it's probably going to be going strong for a while.
Well, and the longevity of the online game is why we haven't had a
yeah.
Elder
that was the,
Scrolls
like,
since
last big thing that
2011.
they
Well, I mean that,
announced.
and then
7
it's-
years.
Is that dudes? Look at that falcon over there.
Oh wow, yeah, majestic.
Oh, what's he
Nature.
gonna do? He's stretching his wings.
Oop,
He's
oop.
like, oh, he's just laying into the.
Oh, he's
being attacked by like a
tiny
sparrow.
little bird.
Wait, did you just say triangle bird?
A tiny little bird.
Triangle bird.
Just heard
I
triangle
love
bird.
nature.
Oh, I kind of want to run at it, but also that thing has sharp claws, and they're the fastest flying birds of prey.
So
Yeah.
don't run at it. That's the solution. You've
Moral of
got.
the story.
Maybe if I slither on the ground, I can become its friend. I can shield
Don't
it
they
from the
kill
triangle bird.
snakes?
They sure do, but I'm not a snake. I'm a man.
Just
Anyways,
you crouch and then you're invisible.
Yeah, sneak.
Sneak.
see, I think because of the size of games now, with Fallout 76 being 4 times, I keep saying 4, I think it's 4, but it's
Yeah.
multiple times larger than Fallout 4, which is already a
It's big.
huge map.
Yeah.
So Skyrim is pretty huge. If it's a similar thing, what if this game spans Tamriel?
I'd be down.
It'd be similar to how, like, Horizon Zero Dawn, the map, you've got...
Yeah,
It
yeah.
covers multiple states of the former United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge
It's all these different
territory.
regions put together.
Mm-hmm.
So what if this is finally the game that brings it all together and it covers... You can revisit Skyrim. You can go back to all the locations that you
mean-
know and love throughout the series.
I would absolutely advocate for that. And that would explain why they didn't announce anything, like at least one aspect of why they didn't announce
Right.
anything. Because maybe they're trying to create a game that's on this scale and make it the best it can be, but who knows?
Optimistic thinking. I mean, really nobody knows at this
Yeah.
point, but
Yeah.
that would be...
They're just like, hey,
it's plausible.
we're working on this.
Something like that would be cool, because imagine if starting out you got to choose where your character originates from. Maybe you're from Skyrim, maybe you're from Morrowind.
That'd be
Whatever
interesting.
race you choose determines
Exactly.
where you start the game.
because you choose
They're
these
made
races
up
from
to
different
certain-
locations.
You
start in
It's
your
like, obviously-
homeland.
Yeah, yeah.
Man,
I
that
would
would be
like
cool.
that.
Bethesda, do it.
Todd Howard, listen to me personally. My ideas.
I'm going to tweet at you later.
Todd
We'll-
Howard,
we'll
be my
talk.
friend.
Well, at you.
But I
Right.
like the fact that, like, something that was kind of poked fun of online is they're like, hey guys, we're kind of working on the new Elder Scrolls. And then they're like, we also have this entirely new title we've been working on. We put our heart and
Starfield.
souls in it. And everyone's like, yeah, all right, tell us about Elder Scrolls.
Right.
And it's like, guy.
But original content for the first time in a decade.
I know,
yeah,
and
but
I think that's
but,
interesting.
But yes, I think Starfield, which
So
was
we-
also just a teaser. We don't know much about it other than it's in space. I think
The
it'll be
Final
fun.
Frontier.
Why
It's
not?
Probably
I
gonna be a better version of No Man's Sky.
right. I like
love
space
space.
games. There haven't been a lot of space games.
Really, no.
Dead Space.
Aside, like,
But even those are old
I know,
now.
I
You
know.
know?
yeah.
Mass Effect.
I mean, and then Battlefront? You know,
No,
like
that
that
doesn't
doesn't even
count.
count as a space game. It's a shooter.
It's a Star Wars game.
It's
And
a
it's a
Star
Star
Wars
Wars game.
game.
So like I'm down for
This
space.
entirely new.
Well, okay, honestly, since we're on this subject, let's shift gears a little bit
Yeah.
here.
Yes.
EA talked a little bit about their Star Wars games.
Right.
Battlefront has been such
A
a disaster
disappointment.
from start to where we are now.
Their announcement
honestly.
was, we're getting solo content. No shit.
Well, like,
They- I
yeah,
mean, they
Solo's
told us-
already out, yo.
Yeah.
They told us forever ago we were getting Clone Wars content, and they are only now confirming and then telling us what we're getting, which honestly,
We don't even know when, right?
we don't know when,
Yeah.
but we do know that we're getting a Geonosis map, which is the largest map to date.
Right, Obi-Wan.
We're going to be getting Obi-Wan, Anakin,
Grievous.
General Grievous,
Yeah.
and Count Dooku.
Yeah.
So honestly, as far as the heroes are concerned, I am pumped.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
really, really excited.
This could be a good expansion that makes me go back and play the game. 'Cause
Exactly,
I haven't
yeah.
played it since they re-uploaded Cloud City.
But I think for some players it'll be like, yeah, too little, too late. Like, you
Oh,
made all these
absolutely.
promises.
See,
I
but-
already gave up on that game long ago, which a lot
Yeah.
of people did, like right
Which
after
is
the
a
very
shame.
beginning of the
See,
game.
the thing with me is I paid $60.
You want to get your money's
it's
worth.
not too little too late. If you're going to give me something, I'm going to try it because I
Yeah.
already paid for it.
I'm rooting for you.
Right. I want you to fix this mess because I paid for it.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's any game. I'm going to at least try the DLC.
So,
or,
but aside from Battlefront, EA said they're working on a new title, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Right, yeah.
Which that was literally just like talking in the crowd saying, "Hey, this is the thing that's happening." Thank
Yeah.
you for that gift.
I hope they don't ruin it.
I'm gonna be honest.
I want a story-driven Star Wars game.
I think this is gonna be the one thing EA can do to save their butts at this point. The boycott that resulted from the first Battlefront game and the subsequent
hard.
Battlefield game, absolutely.
Oh, and Battlefield, don't even get me started on Battlefield.
Yeah, we won't get into that. But it's like you go on PlayStation Store now, or anywhere really, and you can get the first Battlefront for like $3.
Yeah.
It's never on sale. It's always like $3. Every time there's a sale, Battlefront 2, $5.99.
Yeah.
They are scrounging for scraps at this point.
And the game came out in November.
Yeah.
You know,
it's ridiculous.
It's not even old.
Yeah. And like I get it. They cut back hugely on microtransactions, which they said they were getting rid of, but now like they're
They brought 'em
back,
back.
so I don't know what the hell the deal is there.
Yeah.
Did they make any mention of that? I didn't.
I don't
I
remember
didn't see
seeing or
anything.
hearing anything.
They probably
about
just
it.
glazed over that one.
Yeah, but it's like Jedi Fallen Order. People have, I can't even remember the last. Okay, Star Wars Force Unleashed was the last story-driven game that we had.
Oh man,
Oh,
Force
yeah,
Unleashed 2?
Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed 2 was a crap game.
Yeah, but it was
Granted,
The
that
first
was
one was good though. I
The
played
first
some
one was
of that
awesome.
Yes.
I love that game.
So what, 10 years?
Yeah, it's been about 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Because Force Unleashed 2 was like. Actually, I think Force Unleashed 2 is 2010, so it hasn't
Okay.
quite been 10 years.
Like 8 years since the last Star Wars game?
I'm sorry, I'm saving it for later. All right, you know, I'm just gonna tuck this. In my
Unless we're
hat.
counting...
Travis, it's okay.
Nope.
unless we're talking about Lego Star Wars.
Okay, but that's the Lego franchise.
Yes.
You know that's rehashing the movies in a new setting, which is awesome.
Yeah.
and genius, and I love it very, very
They're
much.
good games.
They
Remember
are
you got
good.
those for me for my PlayStation 2
I
for my birthday
sure
like years
do.
ago.
All the
Travis.
Lego games. Was there any Lego announcements? I didn't see anything.
haven't a clue.
I think I remember
If
them
there was,
saying.
I didn't...
Oh God, I'm gonna be
Last
honest with you. I
Lego
don't
played
remember
was The
now.
Hobbit,
Okay.
so I don't know.
Yeah. Oh well. So yeah, Star Wars. Hopefully it's done right because it would be...
It's a cool concept, a cool time frame, one that is worth exploring, especially since the Star Wars Legends and whatnot has basically been decanonized. So this is a game that's going to be canon with the Star Wars universe, and I'm curious who it's going to follow. Honestly, I think as much fun as it would be to play as a whole new original character, and I am hoping for that, I would be completely satisfied if we followed a young Kanan Jarrus. There's already a comic line out about his whole experience growing up as a child, essentially, during the culling of the Jedi. So I think having that in a game setting and seeing how he meets up with the people that are part of his crew and Rebels would be a lot of fun, because Star Wars Rebels is wonderful.
Right, and they can just expand upon the storylines that have already been made canon but are still relatively new and relatively
Explored.
No.
But then I guess
Yeah.
if you
You know,
choose
I-
another character, you could do something really gritty and different than
True.
we've been exposed to.
But that's what they tried doing with the Force Unleashed, you know, by creating that whole thing.
I guess, but that was
Introducing this new character. And
You weren't
getting-
playing as a hero. Well, okay, you were an anti-hero, I will say, in
Yeah,
those
that
games.
sounds
This
about
is like straight up a hero. This is like I'm almost getting like Last of Us vibes from this. Segue, Last of Us 2.
Yes.
Segue.
Ooh, yes.
Naughty Dog has they don't fail to excite us and tantalize us.
Right. We've known
Like
for a
you guys
while.
love Naughty Dog.
So
Yes,
much.
we love
so
Naughty
So
Dog.
much.
Oh, yeah. We can't have more Nathan Drake. At least we can have more Ellie and Joel.
Last of Us 2 is going to be so gay.
Okay. I'm like,
just-
I don't play most Naughty Dog games because I don't like the way they control, and that's not a thing that most people have problems with, but I already have problems like aiming guns, and a lot
Yeah.
of Naughty Dog games make it extra hard on me.
Yeah, it's not the
So I'm
easiest
like-
aiming system. You have to get used to
I'm
it
like,
for
this
sure.
is not my kind of thing, but I do like the stories, and that's why I just
Especially
like watch you
because,
guys play the
like-
games because you're much better at it than me.
Well, it's like when you need to use a gun in those games, it's always such a oh, thank you, another.
Well, that's
into
just
the
it.
hat it goes.
The nice thing is, like, you can find ways around guns, especially
Yeah.
with The Last of Us. Nathan Drake
Yes,
is pretty gun
yes.
heavy, but you can still stealth and melee.
Absolutely.
That's true, but I don't know.
But Last of Us, like,
I don't
guns
know
are
about
like the last resort.
Yeah,
Ammo,
that's
Because
true.
you want to save your ammunition
Yeah.
for
And it's loud.
The
It's loud.
you gotta
the
be quiet.
infected. Yeah.
Um,
Dude, I hope they have silencers in this game.
Ooh,
if
yeah.
you could craft silencers in the open world, that would be dope.
right? Okay, so we already know that you will be able to play as
As
Ellie.
Ellie.
Yeah.
Do you think you will be able to play as Joel?
What do
I
you think about Joel?
don't know because okay, if you do get to play as Joel, I think it's going to be like the exact same handling as the previous Last of Us, but obviously you're a much older Joel, so things are going to be a little more difficult. I did read that the developers said they're reworking the mechanics so that it's a different experience playing as Ellie. It's going to feel different. It's going to handle different.
That's nice.
It's going to set the two apart. So
Right, because they were saying that, she's not this big, muscular, beefy guy. She's
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
small, lightweight, quick. So she's not going to
she's
be just
X-23.
right. She's not going to be just pounding on these guys. She's
Yeah.
going to be having to use other
I
methods
like things
of
like that though.
Yeah.
Like depending on which character you're playing, the game feels different.
Yes.
right.
Like I'm all for games where you can sort of play different characters, but they all kind of work the same way, and you just
Just
like,
a
I want
different
to play this
skin.
one because it's my favorite
Yeah,
skin.
yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. I think that just makes it more immersive.
Exactly. And that's
I
something
just
that
feel
I think
like an idiot saying that word, but I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's
I
true.
mean,
I get
it
immersed
is.
in video games.
I think we're at the point in technology and entertainment industries now where like we're escaping, yeah, but we want to be heavily immersed in our escape.
Yeah.
So it's like we want to live vicariously through these other characters.
But not VR because it's too expensive.
Well, it's too expensive,
And I
and
would
it's
vom.
still not like
I
super
cannot.
gracefully done.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to
They've
be
come
said.
a long way, but
Oh yeah.
it's
That's
still,
true.
Still.
But like I think there's something to be said about third-person shooters like Last of Us, and even going as far back as like Resident Evil 4 was the first third-person
Yeah.
shooter I played, and I loved that game
That's a good game.
because it's you can get immersed in the game without losing touch with reality because you're being reminded I'm not this character, this is them. I'm just kind of showing them where to go and whatnot.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You're experiencing their story
You're controlling them,
through
but you're
their
not
eyes
them.
as well as your own.
Yeah. Speaking
And
of
I really
Resident
like that.
Evil,
Resident Evil 2 remake.
yeah.
I'm psyched.
And they said they're streamlining the campaign to make it less repetitive,
Yeah.
which is
Okay.
pretty cool.
I've only
Um,
ever played the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil 4, so I don't know anything about number 2.
Yeah.
So if this is going to be more of a streamlined game, I might actually play it.
I downloaded it because it was a free game of the month on PS4 a while back.
Okay.
Or did I? Oh, no. That was a different game. I bought Resident Evil 2 on PS3 when I first got my PS3 because it was like $4 on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
And I tried playing it, and it has some of the most horrific controls
hard to walk.
imaginable. It is.
Tank control.
It's borderline impossible to walk in a
Yeah.
straight line.
Bless.
It's ridiculous.
I think that's part of what they mean by streamlining.
Well, yeah.
As in
It's better
fixing these
controls.
glaring mistakes.
yeah.
And I
They
think
did
it's
their
also
best. They did their best.
one of those things where it's like you just have this kind of nonstop stream of like really weak zombies coming at you. It gets repetitive when it's the same like formulaic zombie attacks.
Right.
Yeah.
And the stakes aren't that high because it's like, yeah, if they get to me, they'll kill me, but also there's not a whole lot else going on besides that. So
Yeah.
I think making a more coherent story for a new generation.
And
then
hopefully
just
they
kinda-
will, since they're not making the next installment of Resident Evil or anything.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
nothing like that was announced. So take the time and do it right if you're
Yeah.
going to take that older game and do a remake,
Well, and I think the thing for me with Resident Evil 5, 6, and I haven't touched 7, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
But like Resident Evil 4 has kind of been the gold standard for Resident Evil games for so
It's
long.
definitely
It's
the
so
most
good.
beloved
It's-
of the
it's so
franchise, I
good.
think.
Like it's just
And that's why
cheesy
everyone, I
enough
think,
that-
hated number 5 when it came out, because this is so different.
It wasn't a horror survival game anymore. It was an
It
action
wasn't.
game.
It changed it.
Yeah.
Like
I did like number 6
it a
with
different
the multiplayer.
number 6. Okay,
That was fun that we could
definitely
both
a
that we could
strong
play
point.
together.
remember seeing
that
about
was
that.
fun.
And honestly, that would be something that I'd like to see return.
That'd be neat.
Yeah.
To Resident Evil 2.
Co-op. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, co-op. What co-op's dead. Everything's
Pretty
either
much.
online or single player. Like
Or Battle Royale.
Oh well.
Battle
Yeah.
Royale.
I mean, I do love
What a new and
Fortnite, but
interesting
like
idea.
I know it's being way overplayed. But I do miss co-op, like
Yeah.
good old. I mean, it doesn't have to be split screen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, local. Because split screen gets difficult. But like, I don't know. Just I really missed co-op Halo, and just doing a campaign with one friend.
Yeah. There are a couple of like indie
Just having
games
some
that do
backup.
specifically like local co-op where you
Yeah.
have to be like in the same room working together for certain things.
It still
I don't know.
exists. It's just
It's not
kind
as
of
widespread
it's kind of
and-
been
It's not at the
phased out.
forefront of game developers' minds anymore.
Yeah.
I know.
Because I don't know, I feel like there was a brief period where gaming was such a like an intimately social experience, and now it's been about connecting people from all over the world. Like, I'd like to connect to my family in my house. Please give us a game we can play that isn't Jackbox.
No, you're playing this kid in Germany
Right.
He's your brother now.
and he hates you. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
What,
where to go from here?
right? What else did we have? Spider-Man.
Oh my
Spider-Man.
god. Okay, Spider-Man, and
Spider
then
Gwen.
I'm so excited for the new Spider-Man game.
September, which we already knew. None of that is new information.
Yeah, but they
You
they
got
gave
some
us
more.
a wider view of what the gameplay is going to be like.
Yeah.
We got a new trailer featuring some awesome villains. It's heavily implied Spidey's up against the Sinister Six, which is fan-freaking-tastic.
I can tell by the way you're punching things.
I'm so excited I'm punching myself! Anyways,
When was the last Spider-Man game? Or what was the last
the
Spider-Man
last
game?
Spider-Man game to come out was The Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Okay.
which came out in 2014, I believe.
So that was following the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
well, okay, so it
It's like-
came out tandem with the movie, but it was supposed to be its own story,
Okay.
but it also retold the story.
Gotcha. So
It's-
it just wasn't good.
It was a hot mess. The Amazing Spider-Man games, like there was a lot of good in them as far as like open world Spider-Man games are concerned, but
The sun's creeping.
it's like for as much good as they did, they also made some really, really drastic mistakes. Mistakes that I don't think are going to be repeated in the Insomniac game. The first one being, and it was the one thing that basically made Amazing Spider-Man 2 unplayable, is there was a weird hero-villain system where it's like the Daily Bugle's trying to tell everyone you're a menace, so if you're not constantly helping people on the streets, they start sending attack helicopters after you.
Oh wow.
So it's like you can't even like have the therapeutic web swinging through the city when you're stressed out, because it's like if
You're
all you're
under
doing
attack.
is web swinging, J. Jonah Jameson is going to send people with guns after you.
That just makes me think of the last Spider-Man game that I played was Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation
Yep.
2.
We
And
played
it's
that
like,
at my house a
I
while
imagine
ago.
if those kind of rules were put into that system, and it's like, if you don't get that kid's goddamn balloon, then we're sending attack helicopters after you, Spider-Man.
Yep. Yep.
That just makes me laugh.
That is correct.
That's
So
funny.
hopefully that's not in the new one.
So there was that, and then there was this really, really obnoxious element to that game where every time you completed any sort of mission, even if it's like, oh, these guys are punching this dude in an alley, I'm going to stop that. It halts the game, and there's an unskippable, like, 15 to 20 second newscast about how Spider-Man's a hero.
Unskippable.
Unskippable, and after it
Unacceptable.
finishes,
Wow.
then it has to reload the world around you. So it's like another 20 to 30 seconds, and granted, this is like really major griping because, yeah, you're losing a minute of gameplay because of this. But
Load
it's,
times are a
It's
big deal.
Frustrating, yeah.
honestly, they are.
To stop the gameplay, have this thing that you can't, like, you have no choice but to watch,
Yeah.
and then have to wait for it to reload after you watched a thing you didn't even care about.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
just a waste of time.
It makes the experience really
I would
annoying,
get
especially if you're in a situation where it's like, oh, there's 3 crimes going on in this circle of the city. I'm going to do them, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Because you end up losing like 5 to 10 minutes of doing anything you actually want to do
Instead
because
it's
of
boom,
this.
load.
It becomes a chore, and it's just
Load.
super obnoxious. But one, Insomniac Spider-Man looks beautiful. The
It's
graphics
gorgeous.
are straight up the best of any Spider-Man game to date. One of the best looking games I've ever seen, period. And like the new suit is awesome. We're getting different incarnations of suits from like the movies and then the comics and whatnot. And they've confirmed that as the game lives through its lifetime, they're going to have updates of like different missions where you can fight different Spider-Man villains.
That's
Okay,
nice.
Whatnot.
that's neat.
Probably going to get more like well-known suits and stuff because they also said they're going to do custom suits that
Okay.
you've never seen before.
Nice.
I
Which
like
makes
it.
me think there might be potentially a suit crafting aspect of it.
That would be cool.
Because like that's always been a big thing with
He makes his
Spider-Man.
own
He
suits.
makes his
Yeah.
own suits.
Yeah.
Some suits.
And if we're going for like a seasoned Peter Parker who's been Spider-Man for a while
He's
now,
gonna have a lot of different suits.
yeah, for different purposes.
Yeah.
You know?
That's cool.
So there's
I
a
can dig
lot
it.
about this game to love, to be excited for. I'm jazzed.
Nice. Now,
Heck yeah.
let's talk briefly about Nintendo.
Yes.
You know, I didn't follow a lot with it, and we don't own Switches or anything. But Pokemon Let's Go and Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Yes.
Yeah,
With
Smash Bros.
every
Everyone was
character
here, and then all the memes
ever.
of Waluigi like, no, like, 'cause he
Yeah.
wasn't there.
So
That is interesting.
those
though.
are the
I
two
think
big things that.
I was one of those people that were like making pentagrams of amiibos on the floor, like Animal Crossing for the Switch. And everyone was like grumpy, 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 and then everyone got grumpy about people being grumpy. And it's like, do you think people that play Animal Crossing actually get mad? Like,
Right.
we're a bunch of like low-key sleepy nerds.
My best friend's a cartoon penguin.
Hell yeah. No, the penguin's the worst. It's all about the dogs. I beat the penguins till they leave my town.
Oh God.
I'm a good mayor. But anyway.
Anyway.
But yeah, I don't play a lot of Smash Brothers. As is a continuing theme of all the games that I play. They're all very old. I played like Brawl.
Yeah.
Was the last Smash Brothers that I played. I'm not big on fighting games, but the fact that they have like so many characters to choose
Right.
from, I'm sure
Yeah.
at least one will like.
I only play it when all the dudes
Here
hang
we go.
out at Matt Machado's place.
Yeah,
and we
that's
just,
true.
Well, and we used to
I
play
played
Brawl at
on
my
the
house
Wii U.
on my family's Wii.
Yeah.
We did that
that
for a
was
while.
Brawl. Yeah.
The one thing that I will say for Nintendo, aside from this whole bizarre not making any kind of Animal Crossing game or even porting older ones to the
That's
Switch,
true.
is that I feel like whenever they come out with new stuff, they're catering very much to their fan base. They know what their fans like. It's the same stuff they've been playing for the last 20 years.
And that's how Nintendo is.
That's why they're still
stayed.
afloat,
Yeah.
you know?
But Nintendo, even for the last few years, have been like, we don't care very much about making grandiose announcements at different video game conferences. Like,
Right.
they've made it very obvious. Like, if we
Yeah.
have announcements, we make it when we want to.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not gonna like
Save
push our
this for
staff and go
E3.
crazy
Yeah.
trying to get things out on time or fail to like live up to promises because we
Yeah.
said that we would launch it this day and we can't possibly
Right.
do that. So I don't always expect a lot from Nintendo when they go to these different conferences.
sure.
I wait for like proper like news just straight from Nintendo, like, hey guys,
Yeah.
let me tell you about this new game we got in the works, and everyone's like, yes,
Which is what they did
Miyamoto.
like 2 months ago for Pokemon Let's Go.
yeah, exactly.
Which actually,
they just do it
it-
on their own time, and I kind of
it-
appreciate that.
It seems pretty cool too. I mean,
as
you
much as I
can
love E3, but
sync it with Pokemon Go.
Yep.
And Pokemon Go just announced that they're coming out with a trading
yeah.
capability to trade Pokemon between
Do you think
players
that'll
and
get you
stuff.
guys playing more again?
Oh, I
'Cause
okay.
I
Yeah,
remember-
every time there's a
I
big
remember going
update,
out
we
on
go out and
walks.
try it
Yeah.
again, and then we phase out of playing it, and then we're like, oh, there's something new, let's go try it again.
Right.
When I was living in
Try to bring
Monterey,
it back.
I walked to work regularly, and I would play every time I walked to work, just because like we lived in a coastal city, so it's like when I'm going on the
Stuff
rec path,
everywhere.
there's Pokestops everywhere,
Gym,
there's
gym,
Pokemon
gym, gym.
everywhere, there's gyms everywhere.
yeah.
I get my little walk in, my little exercise, and I get to play Pokemon at the same time. So it's like it's a fun game, and it's definitely had some updates that have increased the playability. I will say that as far as Pokemon Let's Go, when I got the email, obviously before E3 happened,
Right, yeah.
I didn't really have any interest in the Switch. After watching the trailer, I'm intrigued. I kind of want to get one.
Yeah.
The game looks fun. It looks
It does.
cute. It looks fun. It's everything a Pokemon fan and a Nintendo fan
Would enjoy.
would enjoy. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those things where, like, going back to the whole Nintendo caters to their fan base, like,
Yeah.
this is the first product I've seen, like, someone who's not, like, strictly a Nintendo fan but is a Pokemon fan is like, I'd be willing to invest in the console because this looks like a fun game,
Yeah, for sure.
which should be what E3 is about.
Now,
I think it's,
You mentioned a minute ago failing to live up to promises, and that made me think of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yep.
Failing to live up to promises.
So Travis,
3.
take it away.
All right.
As he
Give me a
walks
minute,
away to
'cause
check the time.
I keep checking because I don't know how long this is going to record for, but it looks like we're still going good.
Cool.
You can ramble forever.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3.
3, my dude. It's
What are you
been
feeling?
such a wild journey up to this point. I remember getting Kingdom Hearts 2 shortly after it came out for my like 12th birthday.
And you're 25
And
now.
I've waited all these years. I beat the game. I saw the after the credit sequence, and I was like, Kingdom Hearts 3! And then like 5-10 years go by, and I get Birth by Sleep, and I'm like, oh, that's what the video was. It wasn't even the third installment. It's a prequel.
Yeah.
Okay. And then moving forward, getting the HD games, replaying them, and then finally being able to play Dream Drop Distance, because I've never owned a 3DS. I've never wanted to get Kingdom Hearts on that.
I loaned it to you.
Oh no, it's fine. I played Birth by Sleep on the PSP originally because I really wanted to play it. And like it was basically having a PS2 in my hands, which I was down for.
I like the PSP.
PSPs are fun.
I only ever played Monster Hunter on it, and like
Oh man,
I played a lot of Monster Hunter, but I don't like Monster Hunter, so I don't know what that says about me as a gamer.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Not my jam. But
But
So,
Kingdom Hearts 3.
I remember like 4 or 5 years ago the E3 where they're like Kingdom Hearts 3,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
everyone was like, "Oh, we're so jazzed."
And everyone was like, when? And they were like,
Eventually.
ish.
When?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Just be happy you've got anything.
But then
Like,
they would
yeah.
be like, "Oh, probably around this time," and then it would start getting closer, and all the fans start
Yeah.
vibrating with excitement.
Right.
They're like,
And then we got a
JK.
trailer, but no
Yeah.
date. This was like 6 months ago or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So now we have a date. It's in what, January, February?
January 29th of next year.
So what?
But is it?
they're- right. But like all that, and they're not even gonna get it out for Christmas.
Okay, but
Like, come
Weird
on.
things,
Here's
right?
here's something even more wild. The initial announcement of Kingdom Hearts 3, they said right from the get-go, Big Hero 6 is going to be in the game. That's one of the worlds you're going to, San Francisco. Here we are now. We've had so many worlds announced. We've got all these videos of the worlds. We've seen gameplay of the different worlds. Nothing from Big Hero 6. And they didn't mention it in E3, but I read an interview later on that the developers said, yeah, we know we announced it, but the world's just not where we want it to be yet, so we didn't feel like showing it unfinished. And it's like,
Kingdom
okay,
Hearts 4.
Okay.
Kingdom
It's-
Hearts 4 when everyone's 40.
Yeah.
So Big Hero 6 will be in the game, but they're not ready to show it.
Exactly. They
So-
literally
They
announced
don't
it
wanna show
years
the
ago,
world.
and since then we've
Yeah.
seen Tangled footage, we've seen Frozen footage now, we've seen Pirates of the
Pirates of the
Caribbean
Caribbean,
footage,
yeah.
Toy Story,
Monster Inc.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
We've seen so much, but why not show us anything? They showed us a
Why not
version
show
of
us
the
the
game
thing that you
years
specifically
ago
announced?
that
Yeah.
looked completely different than it does now.
Oh yeah.
So there's
Yeah, because they
really
took
no
so long
excuse.
to develop it, they probably had to redo it to keep the graphics modern.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Squeenix.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's
Phoenix tries.
it's
Squeenix.
been a journey.
Phoenix, yeah. That's
I'm-
its name.
I have to say
But
that I'm
you are
still
still
not
excited,
sold.
right?
I am excited,
Okay.
yes, but there's just some like weird things about it, like the Keyblade transformations now. I'm not big on that at all.
What
I
about
don't.
it?
You can turn your Keyblade into like guns and like a surfboard or something like that. Like
Oh.
That's strange.
I don't like that.
I
Yeah.
like.
Let me dual wield Keyblades. Let me enter my final form where they're like spinning outside of my body.
And then
What
just
if you could
cast
take two
magic,
Keyblades
like,
and put
yeah.
them together like Darth Maul's
Yes.
lightsaber?
Okay, yes, that is what needs to be in the game.
Right,
Give
if
me
you
Star
could, like,
Wars
They need a
Custom-
Star Wars
You
world.
can take your
Oh
two
my
favorite Keyblades
God.
that you've collected and just
Let-
attach them.
Oh,
Let me
man.
craft my own Keyblade.
No, Travis, you get a surfboard.
Oh. It's like, but at the same
Sorry, I put
time,
that in your head and that is not a reality.
at the
Right.
same time, I can't stay angry because the game looks good. I know it's
looks
gonna be
good.
fun,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
and it's Kingdom Hearts. You know, this is what's gonna wrap up Sora's story,
Mhm.
or so I hope,
Right.
because that's what's been told to us from the
and
days
we're gonna
of
get a
Kingdom
lot
Hearts
more
2's
with
release.
Roxas.
Mhm.
Probably not.
Well, I mean, it's in the trailer, right?
Oh no, in the game, yes.
Yeah.
I don't mean like as far as like a new Kingdom Hearts.
Oh no, no,
game.
no! I
That's-
mean,
that's
in
what I
this
thought you were
game,
saying.
there's going to be a lot about Roxas.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. Who is a nobody? He's Sora's nobody, but he's not really Sora's nobody. He's Ven's nobody because Ven's heart's inside Sora's heart. But Ven's also asleep somewhere, and we gotta wake him up. There's a lot of sleeping in these games.
Okay, what else from
They're
E3?
sleeping on the production of making these games.
Right?
Yeah.
Anything else we want to cover? We've gone over a lot.
Death Stranding.
Death
Yes!
Stranding!
Oh my God! How
More
have you not?
Kojima. I don't get it, but I want to play it.
No, but still, no idea what the game is. No
An
no date.
It
oversized
doesn't matter.
tardigrade day keeps the doctor away.
I still want to play it so
Eats
bad,
bug.
though. Like,
Bug baby
who-
goes. And then everyone's like, blessed. Thank you.
Yeah.
right? Who
Guillermo
would,
del Toro, you're great.
I was not
Norman
excited for
Reedus.
this game until this latest gameplay trailer. I'm
remember-
sold now.
Yeah, I'm like, I remember watching the like last trailer that they had released and being like, what?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone talking about it and not quite seeing it. Now we see like gameplay. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right,
Okay,
I still don't get it, but I'll play it.
At this
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it just for the answers.
It's-
I need to know.
If
what-
it's a Kojima game, you won't get all of them.
No, but
I will say, like,
I don't
It looks
know.
good.
I want it.
the
I
only
want it to
thing
be
that
good.
concerns me so far is, like, it looks like such a vast game. It looks
It seems-
huge.
yeah.
And I hope that
I like those
the
games.
I hope that the world that you're in the game isn't so huge that just traversing it takes up the bulk of the game. Because like I'm playing through Metal Gear Solid 5 right now,
Yeah,
and that in itself is a big game. It's a long game,
yeah.
and I feel like a game like this that's going to be driven by a single character's journey of delivering things when there's like spooky ghost monsters around. It should be like kind of a tight, contained experience. Like I don't want to spend 30 hours walking and giving people boxes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes when games, I don't know, I don't want to say that some games do specifically like have things spread out so that you like try and elongate your gameplay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you feel like you're like getting more out of the game because you spent more time on it, but that's not necessarily true because you're not getting more out of the experience.
yeah, I
You're
don't
just
like
more
that.
frustrated
Yeah, you're not-
going
I want
from one
you
place
doing
to
it.
another.
I want a long game, but I want it to
And
be
I would
unique.
like to believe that they know this, but we shall see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe some sort of fast travel.
I'm very happy
Maybe.
with Norman Reedus's
right.
performance. The animation for him is just it's beautiful. It's spot on.
But the whole time I'm gonna be playing as Norman Reedus, I'm just gonna be bitter it's not Silent Hill.
Well,
I was
okay.
gonna say, I was like,
okay.
he was beautiful in that teaser from PT. That was also beautiful, and I wanted
Love
that
Silent
game.
Hill.
That's true. That's true. And I mean, we will never get Norman Reedus in Silent Hill. I
No.
don't think that's ever going to happen.
But do you
That's
think we
okay.
will get a PS4, Xbox One, generation Silent Hill, or do you think it's going to be the next gen?
I do believe that we will, because I think that horror
In this gen, you think this gen
yeah,
will get?
yeah, for sure. I think that
I
horror
love one.
survival is kind of it's not the most popular genre of
But
gaming.
it's very popular and underproduced.
well, yeah,
And
I
Silent
guess.
Hill fans
you
are
know.
like as devoted as Kingdom Hearts.
and they go
fans.
way
okay, yeah, I would
back.
agree.
Oh
I would
yeah,
agree, yeah.
You know?
absolutely.
Way back.
Silent Hill 2 is like one
honestly-
of my favorite games.
Yeah, we played the first one. We never finished the third one. That game's hard.
I would not
The third
mind
one's
Hard- it's just
even a
weird,
remake
but-
of the first Silent Hill.
Oh,
a
yeah.
PS4 remake of it, because like that game was like weird and fun and kooky, but
It was so much
I
fun.
think it's one of those things where it doesn't even need if they had like a simultaneous storyline,
Mm-hmm.
because there's this weird dimension shift. So if it's like somebody else was in Silent Hill on their own journey or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
simultaneous to what's his name looking for Cheryl,
Yeah.
my daughter Cheryl. Have you seen
Harry Mason?
Cheryl?
Yeah.
And then like if there's like this weird
Silent
kind
Hill
of
Shattered Memories was like a reimagining of that kind of in that way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was a weird game. I played it on the Wii. And
Oh.
playing a Silent Hill game on the Wii with like my shaky hands and Wii motion controls, very strange.
that
It's,
sounds
a str-
horrific.
it's strange, but it's interesting because it's like, I don't know. It's a different way of going about that kind of like
Yeah.
first game storyline
Yeah.
of Harry Mason.
So
Anything else from E3?
I
Anything you wanted to see at E3 that wasn't talked about?
it's a what?
It's an
Oh,
Animal Crossing.
it's such a small thing. Is that Jurassic Park game out yet? That hasn't come out yet.
No.
What?
I think that would have actually been interesting to see more about.
Yeah, so Jurassic World Evolution, which is basically
It's like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
it's a
but
park
Jurassic
builder.
Roller
World.
Coaster Raccoons.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's not out
My
yet.
favorite
I think
game.
it comes out the same time as the movie. I think it comes out like this week or something.
Oh,
Okay.
That
late
would make
June.
sense.
But the pre critic reviews are in. IGN gave it a 4.8. They said it's a fun builder, but it lacks any of the action that you get from the films, which makes me think that you build the park, but they never break out.
So it's just Zoo Tycoon, but if you delete a piece of the fence, can they escape?
I don't know.
And kill the people.
The
Because you
graphics-
could do that in Zoo Tycoon.
Right? So why wouldn't you be able to do it in Evolution? So
Delete the
I
fence
think
and
this
lions
is a-
would kill your guests.
Right.
Such a fun.
I think
Shitty
Jurassic World
person.
Evolution would be a game worth red boxing.
Agreed.
I don't want to buy it, but I want to see.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of
We'll do a
potential
first
for a game
impressions
like
of it.
that.
Yeah.
We'll red
I
box
can't
it and do a
see-
first impressions.
I don't know. I can't see getting a lot of gameplay out of it once you like understand what it's about.
Right.
Like
It
you
is
build
a-
the thing and you're like, so I've done it.
Spared
What
no
now?
expense.
Yeah.
Well, and this makes me think because there was the Jurassic World prior to the release of the first Jurassic World. There was the Jurassic World game, mobile game,
Yeah.
and you built your own park and you did stuff. And there was nothing that broke out, but there was like the fighting arena and stuff, and it was a fun mobile game. But this is a console game coming out years later. There needs to be more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe there is. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Going back to the mobile game, did you guys know that there's now like an open world Pokemon Go style Jurassic World game?
No.
Yeah, it's like go around town, find velociraptors, take pictures of them.
Really?
Hell
It's like a
yeah.
yeah.
So an augmented reality
Yeah.
Jurassic World.
I haven't downloaded it. I don't see the appeal.
But like, what do
I
you do?
want
You
it.
can't catch them. You can't you just snap a photo and collect a photo album, and that's all it is.
I guess I don't
Take
know.
selfies with your favorite dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's funny, huh? I
Man,
can
I'm
see.
just watching ants crawl all over your hands.
Oh
man.
God, that's just one or
And
two.
more.
There was a big one on there earlier.
Yeah. So Evolution should be coming out like now.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll check it out.
This feels like
I'm
a
more
good
excited
stopping
for the
point.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything in E3 that we
wanna
care
talk
to talk
about.
about. Of course, there's so much, but we either don't remember or don't care.
yeah.
So.
Tell us what you care about.
Right. Yeah.
listeners.
Comment what your favorite reveals were from E3, your favorite trailer, your favorite announcement, your biggest disappointment.
Yeah.
Do you agree or disagree with our opinions on like Fallout 76 or things like that we talked a little more in depth about?
Yeah, or the ones like Fallout 76 where Travis is like, I'm not hyped, but Aaron's
Right.
like, I'm hyped. What are you?
How
On which
skeptical
side of
are
the
you,
fence?
you
Or are
know?
you on the fence watching everybody fight like me?
Right. Right. But either way, thanks for listening, and this will be a semi-regular
Reoccurring
thing.
thing.
Yeah, this won't be on a fixed schedule. It's just going to be
We'll be back.
our friends group has these types of conversations frequently. We're simply just going to start recording them.
Yeah. Like Mark and Amanda are going to be in town in like a couple weeks for Jax's 3rd birthday, so I'll
man.
probably sit down and do one of these with them.
Yeah,
do
that'd be
it.
awesome.
They both work at IGN now, so I'm sure they've got
Plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.